Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Triple Threat Comics YouTube channel. I'm your host, Ian Miller. Today, we're joined by a very talented creator, all the way from Australia. It's what time is it in the morning over there?
It is 8 o'clock in the morning here.
Oh, 8 o'clock at night over here, 8 o'clock in the morning over there. Very nice.
8 o'clock tomorrow for you, so I'm in the future.
Oh, this is a time travel story. This is good. Please
Yes.
welcome Kane Gallagher. Kane, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man. It's great to meet you and great to be on the show.
Great to meet you too. Uh, Obviously, we'll be talking about your graphic novel, The Underclass. I love the name, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I didn't figure out the name until later, but I'm planning on making a series. So this is the first of a trilogy, and they're all going to start with Un. So the next one is going to be called The Unknown. But I'm not sure about the last one. I'm still kind of working on the title. But I thought, when I came up with the title for this one, I was like, oh, that fits perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of a better fit. Yeah.
exactly. Why don't you walk us through it? Tell us about the story. Tell us what it's about.
Okay. So it's set in a high school that teaches kids to be criminals, but that's just the setting. Essentially, it's four short stories split into 5 chapters about these kids that are sent to this school and they don't belong there. So essentially, it's like going to prison if you're innocent. So these kids have to figure out how to survive this environment, which is extremely, violent, and they have to figure out, do I adapt to my environment? Do I become just as violent as the people I'm in here with? Do I become worse? Or do I retreat? Do I hide? Do I run? How do I get through it? And it's very violent. It's definitely not for children. And it's quite shocking. It's quite extreme. My goal is to shock people here. So if you like that kind of stuff, you'll definitely like this book. And that's the basics of what it's about. Yeah.
That's incredible. You told me off camera that it took you about 4 years to complete this volume.
Yes, it did. Not including editing, which probably took like another year or something. But I was doing it all in my spare time because I still was doing regular day job stuff, and I was doing commissions on the side and some graphic design work and things like that. And at a certain point, I just had to say, look, I'm going to stop doing all the commissions and other art related stuff. And I'm just going to focus on this. And I mean, even after it was done, after I'd finished editing and I was sending it out to potential publishers, after that, I still even went back again. And then I worked more into the backgrounds because I don't know, like my brain works that way where everything has to be filled. I want the page to be completely covered in detail. So I was just looking at it one day and I was like, yeah, I could fit more in those backgrounds. I could have worked on it forever, but at some point you need to put the pencil down and go, okay, enough is enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the artist's thing. We're never really satisfied with our own work, even after completion.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, that old saying, like artwork is never really done. It's just when you stop working on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay, so obviously you chosen to go the different path and do the Kickstarter, campaign.
Yeah.
But 80 pages.
Yeah. It's pretty substantial. Yeah. Like I said, it was 4 short stories. So when I started it, I just was doing one story at a time. Because originally I was thinking of submitting it to like Heavy Metal magazine, and then they could just like put it in monthly or whatever, But as I was collecting more and more stories, I got up to like 2 or 3 or something. I was like, this would probably work as a graphic novel if I just compile them, And I even wrote the stories in a way where it doesn't really matter what order you read them in. because all the stories characters kind of cross paths and go through each other's stories. So it's almost like Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
So like when it was all and done, and then I found a publisher, we started even rearranging the stories. I was like, oh, I think this story works better here. And what if we split this story in half, and that'll be at the front and the back? I was like, oh, that's actually a brilliant idea. Yeah. So it ended up working out really well. Yeah.
That's fantastic, and I'm very glad that you mentioned Pulp Fiction because it does that also have that type of feel to it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm a huge fan of Tarantino's writing. I mean, who isn't?
I know. I just rewatched Reservoir Dogs not too long ago. It's like this
Oh
is just
yeah.
brilliant writing. Yeah,
Michael Madsen just died. Yeah. That
I know.
sucks. He was great in that film,
Yeah,
especially. It was
I
fantastic.
know. I know. Of course, he was doing this little two-step dance to the song
Yeah.
"Stuck in the Middle with You." I was like, oh my god.
And when he
I
talks into
started.
the air, like, and that
Yeah,
was improvised. I was like, oh my God.
yeah,
Crazy.
very crazy. But yeah, so this is fantastic, and I saw that you've been fully funded. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah. It's it was a bit of hard yards, in the middle there, but I think most of the
Yeah,
funding usually comes towards the beginning and the end anyway. But
yeah,
this is my first Kickstarter I've ever done, so it was quite a learning experience.
yeah.
Um, but thankfully I had my publisher, and he's done a few before, and he helped me out a little bit. And it's just a lot of marketing, a lot of social
Oh
media.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's a lot of time because all I really want to do is draw, but there are things you have to do, there's non-negotiables.
Yeah, you gotta promote. You gotta promote. Your product. You gotta promote it almost everywhere on social media, and even
Exactly.
beyond that. So yeah, I totally understand.
Even if you make like the greatest product in the world, if no one knows about it, what's the point? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You gotta let people know what you're selling and what you've
Exactly.
made. Otherwise, they're gonna be missing out on some pretty epic, storytelling.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So the campaign has got 3 days left. I understand it.
Yes, it ends on the 12th, I believe, at
Yeah.
midday here. So it would be midnight over there, or 12:30 at night. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So if anyone
I
wants to
think we
hop,
should.
you got 3 days.
Yeah. Do it now. Do it now.
Exactly. Yeah.
On that note, I think we should show them the Kickstarter. What do you think?
Oh, sounds good to me, mate. Yeah, yeah, let's go.
All right, let's do it. Okay. Here we go. 59 backers. And this is your first Kickstarter. This is very
Yeah.
impressive.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had some family and friends in there in the beginning that helped boost it up a little bit, but yeah, most of them have been just from me promoting, really. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's good to know that your hard work is actually paying off, you know?
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, obviously, this tells us a little bit about the story that happens in the book.
Hmm.
I like that. School's in session. The cost of failure, your life.
Yeah. And we put that in the trailer as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Okay, so you're talking a little about the new characters that are coming into the school, including Frank, and
Yeah.
he's over in his well over his his head, and the whole thing's now a war zone.
Yeah, yeah. He's kind of, I would say, he's the closest thing to a main character in the book. And when you really dropped into the story from his perspective as a new student, a freshman coming into the school, and him not knowing how the school operates or even the secret kind of nature of the school, which is not really known to the outside world of the city unless you're like a criminal. But he finds out pretty quickly how it works, and which explains to the reader how the school works. And then from there, it gets very hectic and violent, and and compelling, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so as well. Okay, you guys also got a free preview here, so when you go to the thing, you can download it, check out, bits and pieces of what's going to happen in the story. It also entices you, the potential reader to purchase a copy.
Yeah, definitely. So the preview is kind of the first half of the freshman story, which is the first and last chapter. We split it into two,
Hmm.
and it gives you a kind of an introduction into the school and the story. Yeah. So if you like that, you'll love the book. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, you had a review from my old friend Max Farada from Stellar Lands.
Oh yeah, my publisher must have put that up there. I didn't even see that yet. I've been so busy. Yeah, we just started working with this guy, Max Farada. Yeah, he has his own books called Stellar Lands, and he's published two of them, and there's a third one coming out soon. And he's just started working with us, and he's going to start publishing his books through us. And they're very well done. They're very well written. They're like sci-fi, but
Yeah.
kind of political intrigue and stuff like that kind of woven in there. And
Yeah.
I've been commissioned by my publisher to do the covers for them because he had covers
Ooh.
already, but they weren't as compelling. And, I'm always looking for cover work because I think it's a good way to get my name out there and get my art out there. And
Yeah.
people really like my art style. And I think if it's on a cover, it stands out amongst the other books because you can see the depth and the detail in there that most books don't have on their covers. So yeah, I've done like half of one. I've got another two to go after that, but it's fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Speaking of covers,
Yeah, we got a couple there. So I do digital paintings as well. My favorite thing to do is, hyper detailed line work, which you can see in cover A. But cover B, I'm pretty good at doing a digital painting too.
yeah,
But that takes longer, so I don't tend to do it as much. And I charge more for commissions to do that stuff because like
yeah,
lighting takes so long to get lighting right in a digital painting. It's like, oh, you just go over it and over and over it. But, when you're in the zone, you don't really think about that. You just you're in a flow state and you're like, oh, yeah, this is looking good. But,
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
definitely takes longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still fun, creating anything is fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you're talking about your process on the interior line work. That's what I thought it was about. I was looking at Sensei and also Hard Boiled because it's that type of specific detail. Okay, I knew
Yeah.
I
I mean,
wasn't crazy.
those are kind of two of my favorite things, my favorite comics ever, so they were heavily influenced and I blended the two together really. I mean, I love Jeff Darrow's work. He's one of my favorite artists of all time. And I kind of learned to develop my style by studying his work.
Yeah.
And I've always been a fan of Sin City. Sin City's probably my favorite comic of all time. And I love Frank Miller's writing. So I was like, I want it
Oh
to
yeah.
be crime-based, kind of crime genre. I love that sort of stuff. And then I was like, but I want it to be really intricate, detailed line work. So I was just like, I'll just mash the two together and see what happens. And people seem to like it. So yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it clearly worked, and great inspirations to choose from.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, if you're going to learn, you may as well learn from the best.
Exactly, exactly. Ooh, I like this.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, so we did some more digital paintings that are on the inside of the book. And this is from one of the short stories called Death Race. And it's about a skate race that goes on in the school once a year. And anybody can participate in this skate race, right? But if you win the race, you get immunity in the school for a year. So no one can hurt you, no one can extort you, no one can rob you, no one can do anything bad to you for a year. And everyone in the school agrees to this. There are rules, but the catch is there's traps all around the school. So if you get caught in even one of these traps, it can kill you. So it's up to you. Do you want to risk your life for immunity or, and it gets
God,
pretty crazy. Yeah. As you can
some
tell, I'm a skater and I love skate culture. So
Yeah. God, it sounded like Death Race all of a sudden.
Exactly. Well, that's the name of the chapter. Yeah. It is essentially a death race. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, nice move with the bruise.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can tell he just got punched in the previous couple of pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is kind of a few of the first pages, not the very first, but it's, these are, I would say, the pages that really introduce kind of the school and how it works. So I put a few of those up there, and just to kind of immerse people into the world and give them an idea of what the full story is going to be like.
Yeah. It is insanely detailed and insanely good.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's great to hear. Always nice to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll have to forgive me. I don't often see artwork this detailed like this.
Yeah, well, 4 years, man.
Yeah, 4 years.
Yeah.
It paid off. It paid off.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah,
Wow.
I'm working on the second one now. I'm like 10 pages in already, but
Mhm.
I'm hoping I can get it done in like a year, because I've really learned a lot of things when I was creating this, like how to speed up things, little tricks, little tips of how to, just speed the process along.
Yeah,
So if I can get it done in a year, I'll be happy. Yeah. But the
absolutely.
next one is 150 pages as well. So,
Oh my God. Oh,
but I'm going to pay someone else to color it, so that will take a lot of
yeah,
time off. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I like this. You got the different houses. You got the different gangs in there.
Yeah, that one took me a while. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, that's probably the most detailed piece in the book. Yeah. Um, which it was a lot of fun making, but yeah, it was. I learned a lot of things just doing that page, like
yeah.
perspective and how to draw people from different angles and things like that. And yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it. And when I look back on it now, I'm really proud of it. And that's one of the pages I show to people straight away at like conventions and stuff. Okay, do you like detailed artwork? Okay, look at this, and they're like, okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah,
think
it's
it's a
like one of
sign.
those. Yeah, this must take you hours and hours upon just to get the angles and the perspective right, and just have the characters, doing different things, so they're not all stiff and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've always been good at drawing people and clothing. I think that
Yeah.
I'm good at that, but backgrounds sometimes get hard. So I like to use references as much as I can for backgrounds. So for this, a lot of this, I created like 3D backgrounds and then I
Mhm.
redrew them. But once you have the background set and the perspective lines and where everything is in relation to everything else, then putting the people in isn't so hard, because you know how tall they have to be in relation to, say, the door or the tables, and the chairs, and
Yeah.
that definitely makes things easier. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, we have our big fight scenes.
Yeah, a lot of violence. There is,
Yeah.
crazy stuff that goes on in some of these stories. Um, but if you're into that sort of thing, if you like Sin City, things like that, you would definitely like this, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
one
very
was
nice.
Yeah, this was a very fun one to do, because as you can see in the top three panels, you can really follow the movement. And yeah, as I said, I'm a skateboarder. I love skate culture, and I love drawing anything skateboard related. But to do a whole story where you really get to draw people skating from like A to B to C, the movement and how they fall and things like that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Now, did you have? You must because you must have had to choreograph this. Did you have people to do that for you, or did you just
I
like?
A lot of this, I took pictures of myself from different angles.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and then you just change the facial features and the clothing and things like that. But it's like you get yourself in a certain angle, and then if it doesn't look right, you just kind of tweak things and move the arm into a different position, and then start drawing. And then, once you start drawing, you can change whatever you want, really. But yeah, kind of, I usually start from there because it just makes things easier,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So this one was my editor's idea. He said, let's put some like textbook pages in there. Like, what do you think the students would be learning? So before each chapter, we've got a different page from a different kind of textbook that the school distributes, for the students. And each kind of page before each chapter kind of relates to the chapter that's coming next. So the chapter for this one is called Knife Fight. And it's between two girls in the school and they're about to fight. So right before you read that story, you get an idea of, oh, okay, this is what they learned. This is why they're so good at knife fighting. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. If this does not become a series at some point, I will seriously have a problem. Because there's so much cinematic elements in here. I was like, this has to be a series. If I was a director and you showed me this, I was like, I would want to make this right now.
Yo, okay. Do you know any directors?
I wish I did. I really wish I did. Oh man, but this is very creative, very clever.
Yeah, once I started making them, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I liked the real textbook vibe of it, and the blue and the real diagrams of things. Yeah, and I did 5 of them. Yeah, and they're all pretty detailed and intricate, but they really explain a lot. So there's a lot of depth into the world and how it operates and how it works. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so originally, because I did like 4 of these as well, fully digitally illustrated, painted pieces. Because originally I was always looking for alternate covers because everyone was always like, oh, on Kickstarter you do alternate covers. So I just did as many as I could. And then and then my publisher said, oh, maybe there's too many of them now. So it was like, well, why don't you just put them in like an art gallery at the back? And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, well, that works. Yeah. And I can sell them as prints as well, But yeah, that one was pretty fun to make. Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that one was pretty cool. Yeah. That was from a story called Sophomore Serial Killer. So yeah, he's really like he's kind of like Dexter, but yeah, he flies under the radar. No one really notices him. He's very good at hiding, but he's so sickened by the school that he secretly takes out the real bad ones, and he's really kind of the best killer in the school, but nobody knows who he is. And he eventually kind of ends up going too far and killing the wrong people. And then it comes back to kind of biting in the ass. And then he goes higher and higher up in the hierarchy in the school until he might have bitten off a little bit more than he can chew. And I can't really tell you any more than that. You have to read it to find out what happens.
Yeah. Well, if that doesn't entice you folks to buy a copy, I don't think anything will.
Yeah.
Amazing. Now this I've seen a lot. Draw yourself into the comic. I've seen that a lot, but you've done it in what appears to be a yearbook type of deal.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've already had, I think, like 7 people pledge for this. So we've got all the main characters in there already, and then I've just filled it up with a bunch of randoms that I think would make good characters in the school. But there are 20 spots. So far, we've got 7 people pledged to it. So if you pledge to this, you will get your image in the book. It will be in the yearbook. It will be your portrait, and it will have your name underneath it. And you can choose any quote you want that can go underneath it as well. And yeah, that was a lot of fun to draw as well. Really come up with different ideas of what people would be thinking and what their quotes would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic.
Thanks, man.
So this is the
Yeah, so
wrapper cover.
yeah, so that's the main cover, cover A. So originally that was going to be like a gallery cover that was going to be kind of the start of the gallery at the back. And I had a completely different cover to begin with, but I did it so long ago. It was one of the first things I did when I was creating this. So it wasn't as good as the rest of the interior art because I was still kind of learning that style back then. And then my editor saw this. He said, this should be the cover. I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, make it a wraparound cover. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And as you can see, like the four main characters are in color and the rest of them are in black and white. So, you know, that's kind of another thing that I did with this art style. I only put certain things in color or certain things, you know, make the blood kind of stand out because you want to draw the eye to certain things. And I think it works really well in this cover.
Oh, it does. Because your focus is on these four characters. You're like, well, what's their story? You know, why are they also bloodied up? And also makes people want to interested in the book.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the goal. I think it worked.
Okay, so obviously we have awards. We have a PDF copy of Underclass plus additional free comics. Then the printed copy with the two covers available. A full bleed adult coloring book. Ooh.
Yeah. So my editor again, he came up with a few different things because when I first met my editor, my publisher, they were running a competition, an art competition, and a comic competition. So I submitted to both, and I won both. And then they said, "Okay, well, we'll publish a comic, and how about we publish an art book as well because you've got so much great art." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah.
And then they said, "Well, we've got another idea because your line work is so intricate. How about we take some of the art from the art book, take out the color, and turn it into an adult coloring book?" I was like, "Okay, that's a great idea. Let's do that." Why didn't I think of that? Because it works perfectly with my art style, you know.
It does. It does. Okay, you also have a maximum volume, which is your art book.
Yeah, and that's got a lot of really intricate, like mostly cyberpunk type stuff, like this poster behind.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love doing that sort of stuff. But yeah, the two things I would say my two big passions are like you know, crime stuff, crime genre, and cyberpunk. I love those two sorts of things. But yeah, cyberpunk is fun because you can put so much detail in the backgrounds because there's so much crazy things you can put in the future. You know, it doesn't have to be something that it can just be really like technical kind of, you know, robotic things that are really fun to make. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty much like Blade Runner esque. That type of.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I grew up watching things like Ghost in the Shell and, you know, 80s anime and Akira, you know, so very influenced by those sorts of things, you know, and like, you know, just how they, you know, create these cool kind of technical things that look like they would work in the real world. You know what I mean? Like those motorbikes are so cool. You know what I mean? It's like you could actually build that if you wanted to, you know?
Yeah, you actually could. Okay, so you also have the Wild North Anthology comics, which is issues 1 through 7. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So the company that I'm with now, Wild North, they started originally as, you know, just doing anthologies, which is cool because they had, you know, art and stories by lots of different creators throughout Australia. And then eventually they created so many of them that each kind of story that was ongoing in those anthologies had enough kind of issues to compile them into graphic novels separately. So now we're starting to phase out the anthology, so there's not as many left of those, and we mainly sell the full graphic novels now at like conventions and things like that. But yeah,
yeah,
pretty cool.
You also have the Wild North Creators bundle, the full catalog of Wild North comics and graphic novels.
Yeah, so those are all the graphic novels that, like, some of them came out of the anthologies. Some of them also were just from creators that kind of, got picked up by the company along the way. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool ones, and all different genres, all different styles. One of them won, comic book art awards of the year last year in Australia.
Wow.
We've got a new one that we just released called The Chronicles of Chimera, which is about like human animal hybrids in the future. And it's like a wandering samurai story. It's really cool. It's done like a really, really cool kind of almost like a Japanese kind of art style. And yeah, I've read a lot of these, and we sell them at conventions, and yeah, a lot of them are really popular. Yeah, they're really cool.
Well, I can imagine.
Yeah, especially in
Okay.
Australia. There's not a lot of Australian publishing companies out there. So when people come by at conventions, we're like, oh yeah, these are all Australian comics. People are like, oh.
Exactly.
So it's a good selling point.
Oh yeah. Okay, you have A2 maximum volume art prints, obviously done by you, obviously with hyper
Yeah.
detail.
So those are 3 pieces of art that I picked out of the art book that we're going to get printed on really high quality kind of archival paper that you can frame and put in your house, or you can just put it up on your wall. You can put it any way you want, but it's going to be high quality stuff. And yeah, really, really detailed artwork, so if you put it on your wall, you can look at it for days and days, and I guarantee you'll still find something new every time you look at it, which is what I try to do with all of my art.
Well, as you should, as you should.
Yeah.
Of course, we also talk about the draw yourself in your face name and personal quote appear in your yearbook. Yeah, we talked about that. Skateboards.
Yeah. So I just got a couple of these printed, and I brought them to the last convention I was at, and I had like 3 people try to buy them right there. I was like, these are just display models. You have to back the Kickstarter to get it. And that's it. When you go to conventions, people, they're just like, I want it now. And I'm like, oh God, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Well, the minute you show those off, you're like, you're opening yourself up saying, okay, there's going to be some people that want those right now, but I really have to make sure that I firmly say that you have to back the Kickstarter to get these.
Yeah, exactly. But, unfortunately, some people don't use Kickstarter. They've never even heard of it, and then you're just like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, maybe if you come back at the end of the day, I said I might be able to sell you one when I don't have anyone else to show it to, you know what I mean? But yeah. People I missed out on that opportunity, but it's all right. I've got another convention coming up at the end of this week. But as you can see, back here, I've got a couple here.
Yeah, they look great.
Yeah, thanks, man. As you can see, it's pretty detailed.
Wow. That's going to make somebody very happy.
Yeah.
Especially skateboard enthusiasts. Wow. Fantastic.
And they're high quality wood as well. Canadian maple, which is, what skaters generally skate on. It's because, as a skater, I made sure they had to be the real deal. They're not just display stuff. You can hang it on your wall if you want, but you could actually put wheels and trucks on it, and you could skate it if you wanted to.
Wow. Okay, we also have the original digital art commission. Nice.
Yeah. So I'll draw any character you want. I'll try to stick to one character because the more characters, the more time it takes. But I'll put a background in there as well, and it'll look very cool. And I'll sign it for you, and I'll send it to you, and I'll give you the digital file for it as well. I'm working on one right now. A guy I met at the last convention I went to. Again, I was like, dude, pledge through the Kickstarter and you'll get it. He's like, no, I don't have all the money up front. I'll give you half now, and we'll forget about the whatever. It's frustrating sometimes,
Yeah.
But yeah, the one I'm working on now is of Cable from the X-Men,
Oh,
and it's coming along pretty cool. You know, these are characters. You know, it's always good to get a commission of a character that you've never drawn before, because then you can think, oh, how
yeah.
can I do this differently? You know, and I've showed him a little bit of what I've been doing so far, and he seems extremely happy. So it's going well. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I had the same experience when I started drawing Wolverine on one of those blank covers. I'd never drawn him before, so I was like, okay, what do I do? Do I do the card Wolverine or do the classic look Wolverine? So I went with the classic.
Mm,
And I'm like, wow. It's so freeing, to draw a character that you know, but you've never drawn before. But
yeah.
at the same time, you're like, okay, I have to respect, the look of it. You can't change it too much.
Of course, yeah, but you can do it in your own style, you know.
Exactly.
Well, that's
Exactly.
what's great about these characters as well. There's so many iterations of them. You know what I mean? Because they've been around for so long. There's different costumes they've worn. There's different, ways that artists have portrayed them that have become kind of, well known. Sometimes you can take bits and pieces from each generation and kind of meld them together. I like to do
I
stuff like,
know.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely. Okay, so for this, you have Wizards of Oz. Very clever. This is the PDF pack, $6, Australian
Yeah.
dollar prices.
Yeah, which is it's pretty cheap for you guys. I had
Yeah,
someone hit me up not long ago, and they were like, "I think you might have set the price for that a little too cheap." I was like, "Oh yeah, well I can't go back and change it now," because 80
exactly.
pages, it's a lot, but and you get 3 free comics. But
Yeah,
you don't when it's your first Kickstarter, you're just taking other people's advice, and the advice I got was to keep it this at $6, and maybe that was too cheap, but hey, I think the other rewards are pretty good. So if you want something physical, I think it's fairly priced. Yeah,
yeah. Physical copy, cover A, $25. Yeah, I would say that. This is the cover B, again, $25. The wraparound cover plus the paint cover, 45. Okay, reasonable.
mm.
Maximum bundle, that's 75. And that includes the, what is it, your art book and the coloring book,
Yeah,
and of course, Underclass.
and the graphic novel. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think you get both covers with that as well of the graphic novel, so you get 2 graphic novels.
nice. Okay, Wild North Anthology Bundle, 150. Okay, we're going up. We're going up.
Mm.
Uh, Retailer Bundle, 10 copies. Nice, 150.
Yeah.
Maximum Art Collection, 160.
Yeah, so
All
with each of these, obviously, you get the graphic novel as well. So yeah,
right. Okay, Wild North Creators Bundle, $200. Nice. Draw Yourself plus the physical copy plus the digital, 200. Nice. Ah, the Maximum Ride Bundle, which is the skateboards, 230.
yeah. But
I
you
have to
also
say that's reasonably priced. That's reasonably priced.
yeah, and you also get the 2 other books. So you get the art book, the coloring book, the graphic novel, and the skateboard, all for $230.
Well, if I had the money, folks, I would get that. Just saying.
Thanks, mate.
I mean, especially as for skateboard enthusiasts, this is a good deal. Because you
It
not only
is.
get the skateboards, you get the books.
Yeah.
Okay, the last one is 500. It's the art commission plus the physical copy plus the digital.
Yeah. I think that's reasonably priced, considering I'm doing another one for $500, I mean, that was my publisher's idea to set it at that price, and I think it's pretty good, considering how long it takes me to actually do a piece.
Yeah,
But you won't be disappointed. I'll tell you that. Whoever buys one of those, it will be fully packed, full of detail. You'll be very impressed. Trust me. I'm not gonna half-ass it.
well, you should have asked it because A, it is very impressive and isn't
Yeah,
very detailed. So, yeah, for those of you that are impressed with the book already and probably are thinking about, going to the Kickstarter and, backing it, I do it now.
yeah.
Just saying. Just saying.
There's not long left.
Nope. Okay, we have the add-ons. Some of this obviously we covered, but here's the stuff we didn't cover. What was it Chronos, the space-time machine?
Yeah, so
Dead Sea Lullabies. Go on.
these are all different graphic novels that are included in the graphic novel bundle, but you can just grab individual ones if you want. If you just like one book but you don't want another, you can get this one or that one, you know. But yeah,
Yeah.
as I said, all different genres. You know, some of them are kind of cyberpunky, some of them are sci-fi, some of them are like samurai stories. You know, futuristic things, time travel stories, superhero stories. Yeah, a lot of really different, diverse books that are a lot of fun.
Yeah. And of course, we
And
have
you,
Chronos.
if you want
Yeah.
any of the other stuff as well, you know, you can add those as add-ons as well. Like if you just want one thing and then you want to add a skateboard, you can do that. If you just want the graphic novel and the coloring book, but nothing else, you can do that. You know, if you, yeah, anything really. If you just want one art piece, you don't have to buy three. You can just put one art piece and add it to your cart. Yeah.
Again, these are very reasonably priced.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so now this is obviously your art book.
Yeah.
Wow. The cover. Wow.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I did that so long ago, you know, I was like, yeah, that makes for a pretty good cover. I mean, it wasn't even my idea to make that the cover. We were tossing up between two, this one and another one. And once I saw the actual physical version of it, I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. It looks so good. And it's a
Fun.
hardcover. It's a hardcover book as well.
Yeah.
I can show you. I got a copy here.
Wow.
Really
It's amazing.
solid. Nice. A lot of really cool stuff in there.
Wow. Amazing. Okay, and this is full bleed hardcore coloring book.
Yeah.
Ooh, very
Yes.
nice.
Some really interesting stuff in there. And, you know, for 20 Australian dollars, I'm not sure what that makes in American, maybe like, probably like 10, I don't know, maybe
Yeah,
15,
probably.
13 maybe.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's like most of my artwork is in that. It's just black and white. But, you know, the thing is, it took me like 10 years to create all that artwork. And coloring it probably took the longest time. So if it took me, let's say, 7 years to color all of that stuff, you know, that's like 7 years of fun for you for $20, you know. Think of it that way. Is, you know, down there's some examples of some of the line work that's in there. It's going to take you a while to color all that.
Yeah, I would say so. Of course, these are the skateboards.
Yeah, so those are the two designs we ended up going with. I did a few polls and polled a few people, and these were the ones that they liked the most, and I think they work really well on skateboards as well. You know,
Absolutely.
the thing with skateboards designs is, you know, you have to think of things vertically, so you got to fit as much as you can on this much space. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I think those ones work particularly well.
Okay, and these are the art prints as well.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, so those are three of my favorite ones. I did those three in kind of a series. I like to do, when I do individual art pieces, I like to do them in series of threes. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's kind of a cyberpunk series that I was working on. And those are really some of the most intricate things I've ever done. So I thought they, you know, they would look great on a wall. And, you know, as you can see behind me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think people would enjoy them. Yeah.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
You now see clearer versions of these images.
Yeah, exactly. With a little bit of a drop shadow to show you that's what it would look like on your wall, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to say I really like the this one in particular because it's very striking looking.
Yeah, well, that's my version of Frank Frazetta's A Princess of Mars. Yeah,
Of
so
course.
I just flipped it and twisted it and turned it into a Hero of Jupiter, and I turned it into my cyberpunk version, and that's what I came up with.
It works. It so works.
Yeah, thanks, man. A lot of those artworks, like, they started off as T-shirt designs, and then I just kept pushing them and putting more in the background, and I was like, yeah, these could go on an art book, they could go on a wall.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously, this is the comics creators bundle.
Yeah. So Australia is the one on the top left. That's our most popular book. People love that one. And it's illustrated by this guy. I think his name is Piers Buck.
Yeah,
And he, I've heard he does like Stranger Things comics now. So he's a really good illustrator. And at the back of it, there's a whole like section which shows you how he created the comic, and he goes through it. So if you're into comics and how to create comics, that's a good one.
yeah.
We've also got heaps of other stuff like Future Tales it's basically about fairy tale characters in a cyberpunk world, which is really well done. Dead City Lullabies, a futuristic sci-fi. That's the one that won the Comic Art Awards of Australia.
Wow.
Chimera is the one that's our newest one that I told you about the human-animal hybrids. Chronos is a time travel story. Heaven Grad, I've not read that one yet. I haven't had it at conventions because we ran out of prints, but we just started printing them again. So it's more of like a poem, kind of poetic storytelling. So I've heard.
Yeah.
0 Point is about Australian superheroes, and then you've got mine at the end there. So all of those you get in one.
Nice. Very nice. And this is the anthology bundle right here.
Yeah. So as you can see, these are all the single issues. It started with the first one, which was a real classic cover, kind of a throwback to the old kind of 50s and 60s comics. They're all pretty cool, all done by different talented artists, and the inside, you got like sometimes anywhere between like 3 to 5 different short stories or portions of a graphic novel that you can read through. And, I guess you would say they're probably like collector's items now, because a lot of those graphic novels started in these anthologies, and that's the first place they were published. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So those are the bonus books you get in the PDF pack. So you get my book, and then you get 3 other PDF books. And these are just from different Australian creators that I'm kind of built a relationship over time now. Some of them I've met at conventions, some of them are just people I've met online. And geez, some of them are really good storytellers, man. Like that Gods Among Men in the middle there, that's a really, really good book. It's actually a true story about true crime in Australia. And it's really fascinating. Yeah, it's very well done. And, you got Killaroo there, which is pretty cool stuff, Killer Kangaroo. It's very well illustrated too. And then you got something a little bit more spicy on the end there, which is Fox and Hound comic, which is more of an adult superhero kind of risque kind of story.
Yeah. I've had the creators of both Fox and the Hound and Gods Among Men actually on the show at different times.
Really? Cool. Yeah.
So I know them pretty well.
Yeah, mate, those Mac brothers, yeah, they're really, really good
writers.
Yeah,
they really are. I actually managed to read a copy of it because they sent it to me, and I was like, wow, it's spectacular.
Yeah, and it's so high quality as well. It looks like something it looks like it's almost drawn by the guy who draws Spawn. That's the vibe I got from it. I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Of course, there's you, obviously.
Yep.
minus the beard.
But yeah. I used to shave it down a little bit more back then, and I had a little less grays too.
Speaking of grays, I got one right here.
They're unavoidable.
I know. Yeah. And of course, this is about North Wild, North. I'm sorry, Wild North Comics. I apologize for that.
Yeah,
Us,
yeah,
yeah. And obviously, we talk about the risks here and there, especially with printing these books. But you guys already know that.
yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, the risks are really very low because all of these books have already been printed, and we're selling them in Australia at conventions right now.
yeah,
But the only thing we need to reprint is the graphic novel, this one, because what I've been selling is a kind of a pre-launch edition, and there will be more pages in the final edition that we'll be sending out from the Kickstarter. So it'll be a bit thicker, yeah.
yeah.
But we've already done essentially a test print run with these pre-launch ones. So we have a printer, we know how it works, we know how it's going to look, and most of the process is pretty much done.
Fantastic. Kane, I can't thank you enough for coming on to share this project with us. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. Folks, I would definitely, go on here back today. You can see the link at the bottom of the screen there. It's also in the description. Just to go to Kickstarter, go to the link, back it today because you don't want to miss out on some of these epic deals. Some of this epic artwork. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? It's a lot of value for your buck, a lot of bang for your buck.
It's
I
worth every penny. It's worth every penny.
Exactly, and you won't be disappointed if you're into this sort of storytelling. Trust me, it's very in your face. It's very extreme.
Absolutely. So go to Kickstarter, back the Underclass today. Before we actually end this evening, I, as always, like to post about my own stuff. So just give me a second.
Check it out.
Yeah, so the first thing is I have a comic book series. It's called Codename Hunter. Many of you know this. This is issue 1.
Oh, cool.
Sci-fi spy thriller. So picture James Bond meets Star Trek meets Star Wars. This with a dash of Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's what you
Oh,
get with Codename Hunter. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, so this is some of the preview pages.
Oh, cool. Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
this was my first ever comic book, and I was very proud of how the thing came out. But as you go through the issues, you notice that my style has, matured.
Yeah, definitely. So you illustrate these as well?
Yep, I write and illustrate them. I
Oh,
even do
wow.
the coloring.
Yeah. Well, that's a selling point right there. Not many people can write and illustrate. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
A lot of work. It's a lot of work. Yeah.
oh, absolutely. But it's worth it, especially when you get your hands on that final product.
Oh, yeah, of course. There's nothing quite like holding a book in your hand and then going, "Oh, wow, I did all of that." You know what I mean? It's very
Absolutely,
satisfying.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So all 3 issues are available on indieplant.com right now. There's the link below. That's for issue 1. But you can definitely scroll down and you see issues 2 and 3 for that. So there's that. But I also have a storefront on tpublic.com. So if you
Oh,
type in Lily Ian merch, you can find my storefront where you can see these designs.
oh, cool.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I
So
have to actually upload a couple of designs soon.
these are on T-shirts, are they?
They're in t-shirts, coffee mugs, ball caps, wall art, even
Oh,
pillows. Let me show you. This is one of the pillows.
oh, right. You got it on a pillow. Awesome.
It's quite
Yeah.
comfortable. It's very comfortable.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I use not as much these days, but I used to a lot. Redbubble, sometimes Threadless.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard of T Public though, but yeah, that must be pretty good. Yeah,
Well,
wow.
now you heard of it.
Yeah. There's always more places you can put your merch on, you know.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'm currently working on issue 4 of Codename Hunter as we speak. It's always gone to the inker. I'm going to be coloring very soon, but I'm going to have some news about my Kickstarter coming up. So keep an eye
Okay,
for that.
Cool.
And we're also on Patreon, so you're going to hear some news about that possibly in a week soon. Some big stuff is coming. I'm very excited about it. Can't wait to share it with you all.
Nice. Do you color it as well?
Oh, yeah. The coloring process is fun for me as well.
Yeah, I find coloring, it's fun, but God, it takes so long.
I know. So long, so long.
That's why my next one, I'm paying someone to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Eventually, you can't do everything by yourself anymore. You gotta, seek out help. And so far, I've
Yeah,
been fortunate enough to work with people, who become friends of mine that, share the same passion that I do. So I'm very fortunate with that.
yeah, that is good because you never know. You could get scammed online when you're trying to find someone. And people
I
tell me it's
know.
very hard to find someone that's consistent. A lot of people they
Yeah,
give up halfway through the project, and it's like, oh, now I've got to find someone else who does the same style. It's like, oh
exactly.
God. But I'll figure it out
Yeah,
when I.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you have to. You have to.
Yeah.
Well, Kane, thank you very much for coming on. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah. And
And please feel free to come back anytime you like.
yeah, for sure, man. For my next book, I'll be doing I'll be doing the rounds again, and you'll be on the list, mate. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, folks, I think that's going to be it for us tonight. I'm Ian Miller, and this has been Triple Threat Comics YouTube channel. Have a good night.